Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mediocre at Breast, episode 9. That's so crazy to think, but I'm really happy it's still going
Yeah, me too.
for
I was
sure.
just thinking about that actually.
Did you or I don't know why my Facebook or whatever shows me this, but Amanda Bynes has started a podcast and she did one episode and I never looked into it, never listened to the episode or whatever, but apparently she was like, I'm going to be having a hiatus on my podcast because I want to make sure I get the guests that I want. And a lot of people gave her, criticism because they were like, you haven't even started or tried to grow anything. And that growth process is so huge. But I guess I understand with, being like a childhood success, it's probably hard to like accept anything else at this point. But there's so many podcasts out there, you're going to have to fight for something.
Do you know who her guest was? I remember seeing the post and it was like someone outrageous.
It was.
I think so. Hopefully not like Queen Elizabeth or
I don't know.
um
I wouldn't even know what she's recently done other than a podcast.
other have she
Also,
got some face tattoos and
well,
wigs.
yeah, she got that. Um, on the Kardashians, the last season or whatever, Chris was like telling Chloe, "You should start a podcast." And I think I would listen to that one. She was like, I think a lot of
Chloe?
people, yeah, Chloe's. I think I would. A lot of people relate to her a lot as far as like she was body shamed pretty young. Um, she's like a big fitness thing now, mom,
She's funny.
and she's funny. And that's what I mean. Like she's super relatable. Um, a lot of people have stopped listening to like podcasts from like celebrities and stuff because it's really hard to relate to them. I've talked about that before, so I feel like finding a relatable celebrity is always fun.
Do you have any celebrities that you like follow religiously that you have a parasocial
I
relationship
feel
with?
like you've asked me this before, and I just feel so out of touch with everything that it's hard for me to even think. I like to watch reality TV though. Um, I just have to circle back. It'd be whatever like big crunchy mom influencer or whatever, whoever owns a farm. It's got to be something like that that I'd have to like dive into because it'd have to be worth my time.
So Kourtney Kardashian? No.
Kinda. I don't know what she sells supplements.
Does she know?
The Lemmy,
Oh yeah, I saw
whatever.
her in
Um,
Target. I was thinking about that too because I was like,
so
they had to have shut down
I don't
that
know what's
store.
really in that. I don't know what's in that. So I can't entirely be, but I know she's she's people who have money are often educated and often have times for going to the nutritionist and stuff like that. So I don't doubt that she has vetted her resources and stuff. But as far as like the crunchy community is so toxic at this point, they're just funny to say because it's like who's more crunchier type of thing. And so it's almost like, toxic of me to be like, I don't know how crunchy that is. So I don't know. But I really don't. I really don't. And I don't know what scale of whatever, but I know they like to make money. So I don't know if they would cut corners of anything. And it wouldn't even be really cutting corners. It'd be what degree of cut corners are you okay with?
I mean, obviously, this goes into having a parasocial relationship, but like, I feel like if any of them had morals and like had integrity to stand on, I feel like it would be Chloe or sorry, Kourtney.
I was
Just
like, Chloe, honestly, Chloe, she's let that man come back and then some. But
I'm praying for her.
yes,
She's in my prayers.
nonetheless. But Courtney, her daughter, Penelope, was actually upset longer than anyone else in the family was with Tristan Thompson's behavior. Penelope wouldn't like go over to Chloe's and like play with True or whatever if Tristan was there. Like that's been like a thing or noted or whatever. And I think that's something to be said about Courtney's parenting at home because it means that
Mhm.
she's like not lying to her kid. She's letting her know that it was complete disrespect to the entire
Mhm.
family.
And also respecting your child's boundaries, which is very
Yeah,
important.
so she does not take Penelope over there. Yeah,
Mhm.
unless you know said I don't know what she really does in life, but that's what was said on the show. And I think that's big. So maybe that is my parasocial. I don't know. I'd have to. That's toxic,
Toxic.
crunchy. Does it toxic? That's
Toxic.
the toxic, crunchy in me is not knowing. It's still the skeptic, I guess.
Hmm.
How has your week been? I know you've been saying you want to work more.
Yeah. Well, we haven't recorded you and I in 2 weeks, so I feel like so much has happened
Yes.
in those 2 weeks. I feel like my year is just getting started because I had norovirus and Niall had norovirus, and that lasted way longer than I would have liked it to. So I had to miss work for that because I went to work. For anyone who doesn't know what norovirus is, it's a
I was gonna say explain that.
yeah, it's a stomach virus, but it's also been called the diarrhea virus. So
Sexy.
yeah, um, it is you get it by feces or vomiting. So what I think happened is the last time we went to play space, I think someone probably threw up because that happens sometimes and they clean it up. But I think Niall probably touched something because I don't know what the gestation is for it. But later that day um, is whenever he threw up on me. And then he got sick. And he was only sick for like a few days. He got over it pretty quickly. But I had it the entire shelf life that, like, on average, it lasts 2 days. I had it for 7 days. Um, so he got it on Thursday, and around Saturday, I started to feel really nauseous. I was on call in the morning, and Ryan called me and he said, "Do you want to come in or do you want to stay home? What do you want to do?" And I told him I don't care. I planned on working, but if I stayed home, I feel like the servers would appreciate it, making more money, and then I would just be there at 3. So I went back to sleep, and when I woke up, I felt like shit. And I felt so fatigued and exhausted. And then I got to work, and then I vomited at work.
Yeah, I feel like we should have a better sick policy.
Hmm.
Not it shouldn't be do you want to come in? Are you good enough to come in?
Oh, it wasn't. It
It should
wasn't.
be like for the greater good.
No, at that point, I hadn't been feeling sick. It
Okay.
was more like we're one short, but I don't think we need you.
Okay.
So
Up to you if you want to work. But
yeah,
still. So but you
yeah, I
vomited
was.
at work.
Yeah, I felt fine.
That's the worst. I did it when I was pregnant.
Um, but yeah, I threw up, and I was like, wow, I don't feel good. So then I had someone pick up my shift in the morning, so I had to miss a day then. And thank God, because then I spent the entire day throwing up. And for 3 days, I couldn't hold down any food at all. And I was just constantly vomiting. And then that finally subsided. And then I was able to eat. And then I had crazy diarrhea. And I would eat something and then it would just like leave my body to the fact that we're going to talk about poop. My stool turned gray, like almost white. And I FaceTime Brian and I was like, "Can I show you something?" And he was like, "Of course." And he was like, "Dude, that looks crazy." Like it was almost white.
That happened to me once, but it wasn't like it was emotional. It was like it was like emotional trauma. Like I was going through a breakup and I have horrible like anxiety on a normal Tuesday. So when I'm going through a breakup, like don't eat, don't anything. I literally we're coming right out of the gates
Yeah,
talking about this today. Um I would describe my
you shut down.
bowels as a puree
Yeah.
and it's all emotional, but it gets to that point to where there's nothing in me and it's literally just like bile.
Yeah. I looked it up and that's how I found out that it was norovirus because at first I thought it was just like, I don't know, whatever.
Stinky boy disease.
Yeah. And I got it from my son and now I'm a stinky boy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it means that like none of my food was being broken down or digested. It was kind of just like going through me and it would happen within like 10 minutes. It got so bad that I was just like on the couch shaking. And then, of course,
Stomach pain is the worst.
mhm. Um, and it was just hard for me to move and get up. And of course, I still had my son because,
Yeah, being sick as a parent is so hard.
yeah, he was kind of
And a single
understanding.
parent.
Yeah. Brian did like, he took care of him. You know, he worked late and then he would come over or like pick him up. And I would go over there and like take a bath and then just like rest on the couch while he ran around. So Brian definitely helped out a lot while I was sick. But circling back to now, I think that messed with my hormones. Um, like I finally got better,
I
and
mean,
then
yeah, you need minerals to have hormones at all,
yeah,
and you don't have anything in your stomach. So,
for 7 days, like a whole week, I couldn't like keep anything. Um, but now I am feeling better.
do you like kombucha? I
Uh,
know you tried that.
I do like kombucha. I think I'm kind of picky with kombucha though. Just
Me
be
too. That's why I don't have any favorite at the moment. But
I do have to say, one of Brian's really good friends that's a chef owns a restaurant in Houston. I actually took Sela there, but they're partnered with this company from Houston called Kicking Kombucha, and they have so many flavors. And I think you can bring it back and refill it. But we'll have to go all together, like me, you, Niall, and Lennon.
have a kombucha flight.
Well, their food is just really good. They have French toast. They have oh my god, it's like cinnamon dolce French toast. I think it's a Mexican restaurant, and they have like a horchata latte that's really good. If you're into that,
It sounds like a good time.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm into coffee.
Sela liked it a lot. It's very cute.
My son is getting very into coffee too, very young.
Hmm.
And but one of my like earliest memories is like watching Mr. Rogers on the couch drinking coffee through a sippy cup. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but he is obsessed with coffee. But I don't like obviously give it to him. I hand him his water cup and then he screams a little more.
Hmm.
He'll get a sip here and there, but I'm not it's just espresso.
Yeah,
It's
we
just espresso.
just
It's
espresso.
just the strongest thing.
We kind of talked about it a little bit before we started recording, but of course I'm half Mexican, and culturally I was raised Mexican because I didn't really have a dad, so it was just my mom and then my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's Tommy.
yeah, drinking coffee as a child is like such a normal thing in Mexican culture as kids. Like they just put like a bunch of cream and sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just eat bread with it.
Yeah, I was like, so is just like a bunch of carbs.
Hmm. So I've been drinking coffee, I think, since I was 3. But like drinking coffee.
Yeah, I also, mom and dad, I also remember this. I remember having a glass of white Zinfandel with water, watered down with ice cubes or whatever, as an evening beverage. And I mean, my dad's, we're Cajun, so we probably do some weird shit,
Hmm.
but I don't know about that. A nice rose before bed.
I do know that like in Europe, it's a lot more normalized than it is
Yeah,
here.
yeah. But
And then also here in America, we have like Puritan culture. So because we were like established by pilgrims and all that, so uh, we're just a little bit different. So I don't know. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, but I do think that like culturally, like that's why we're like, oh,
yeah,
don't do that.
I like that they're adding, like, you always bring me like a coffee with charcoal in it. And
Hmm.
so many benefits to charcoal. Charcoal was like the ingredient in my it was called like tummy calm for Lennon's colic.
Hmm.
When he pooped, it was black. But they described it as it collects all the gookmafluke in your stomach
Oh,
and shoves it right out your scooplavluke, and then
that's
you
how they
feel
described
better.
it, or that's like a Cajun thing.
I just made that up.
Okay.
But that, they say it collects all your it's also like, what is it? A first aid in food poisoning. So
Hmm.
if you think you're poisoned or whatever, eat charcoal. So like Santa bringing you that wouldn't be the worst. There's so many benefits.
Do you want to? We can make this a poop episode because
It,
everybody does
it's just
it.
this is episode. Everybody poops.
um, have you ever had food poisoning?
I remember having food poisoning first time ever, Taco Bell, and
How old were you?
young.
How how did you know? Like,
I threw up in my sleep. Like I knew because I couldn't move my body, and I would, I just like would roll over, and I knew this is bad. It's taken over me all the way down to my toes. And I had a dance competition the day before. Um, and then I didn't dance that day, and then I had one the next day. Um, so I was very weak rolling up to my dance competition the next morning, throwing up everything I had in me with my cheese quesadilla, and that's all I would eat. So I don't know what happened really, but I still eat Taco Bell. I'm okay.
I have this funny story. I've only had food poisoning once, but Adam, who's one of my like best and closest friends now, whenever we first met, we dated for like a very short period of time. That didn't work out. We fell off. He stayed close. I love his whole family now. But I we went over to one of his friend's house, and his friend was an amazing cook. Like he would throw down and like cook a lot of Cajun food. So there'd always be this like crazy like Cajun macaroni with like crab in it, and like just everything was always top tier. Um, but he was literally bragging. He was like, "Yeah," he was like, "I got this discount meat." Like he was like this food that we're about to eat, I only paid this much for this meat, and everyone's like, "Sick!" Like, thank you for cooking for us. And then I go to work, and I'm working at Monument. I'm just like sweating, and I feel really weak. And then I get in the car,
Like a bridesmaid moment.
kinda. I've only seen that movie once. I can't like.
Dude, go watch it again. That's like I love toilet humor, and that's the best shit.
Okay.
Literally.
I love toilet humor. Um,
Boy
but
moms.
yeah, but yeah. So then I pull up to Adam's house, and I'm like, dude, like, I don't think I feel good. Like and he's like, he didn't say anything about it, and he's like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's all like in your head. And I was like, okay. So then I go to the restroom, and then I have like explosive diarrhea, and then I throw up at the same time. And then I just remember like yelling through it. I wasn't even in the full bathroom. I was in like the half bath that's underneath the stairs, like right in front of the living room. You know what I mean? Like the one where
Yeah,
like
the under the
Harry Potter bathroom.
the WC, the water closet.
Yeah, so I'm in the water closet, like right next to the kitchen and the living room, and I like call
People are gonna
him.
think we're European now. The
Yeah,
WC.
but I'm like, dude, like I don't feel okay. And then I just hear him through the door, and he was like, hey, I didn't want to tell you this because I didn't want you to overreact, but everyone got food poisoning. But I didn't want to tell you because I felt like if I told you, you would convince yourself you had food poisoning.
But now I'm validating it.
Yeah.
Now that you've absolutely ripped ass in my house.
Yeah, but I remember getting so mad at him because like I went to work feeling like shit and I had no idea. And then I was like, "You thought I was gonna placebo effect my way into having food poisoning?" And Adam, he can like eat anything. Like,
Some people have like still stomachs.
yeah, he was the only person that didn't get food poisoning. He felt fine, but
Oh,
yeah, and that we that went on for a few days, and then I felt better, and I had taken off work so I could go to Gay Pride. So then I went to Gay Pride, and um, I was over the age of 21, so they give out like free shots if you have your ID. So we went up to this Svedka vodka stand, and they gave us some shots, and literally I took it, and then immediately like my stomach was like, "Fuck you." So I got sick, and then I had to go throw up in a hot porta potty in the middle of summer in Houston. Like it was miserable. Like I learned some things about myself that day. Um,
I was always one of those. I guess whenever I got pregnant and I was throwing up every day, I desensitized myself to it. But I was definitely always one of those people that cried whenever I throwed up. I throwed up.
I threw up.
I can't talk today, but welcome to it.
hmm um, but yeah, I feel like even though that was at the beginning of the year, I feel like that took up so much of my time just recovering from it because even though I did feel
It was
better, like
one big long shit.
honestly, yeah. And
How and no, no, now we have February. Just
mhm. But I want to kind of grind a little bit at work. Um, I only worked 8 days this month, so that's not.
hard.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of like. I had to like ask Brian for like a little advance on my child. Oh, we had our child support hearing.
Oh,
Um,
because you couldn't cancel it.
because we couldn't cancel it. We can talk about that. I feel like that's gonna be like a little informative thing. It fucking sucked. I
Yeah.
spent
Yeah, I guess explain the situation. You wanted him to be on Brian's insurance.
okay. So at the beginning of our split, we agreed that he would be put on child support, and I gave him some time, so that way he could like get all of his stuff situated before like the child support started, and then I filed for it. Um, and then he later, once everything was already in motion, was like, well, why don't we just work out a deal amongst ourselves? Because I don't want to be on child support. The government does take part of the money. Like, I don't want to be like, I feel like I can support my son financially, that like we don't need to do this. And of course, at first, we had like some disagreements on how much the money should be because not I don't me not working and only working the weekends and like completely adjusting my life, like that has to be
Yeah,
accounted
and y'all
for.
aren't paying for child care, so
Yeah.
you have to have that
I,
allocated
yeah, I'm the child
to
care.
you. Yeah.
So like I was like, "Oh, well, I need this much." And then he was like, "Well, our son doesn't need that much money." But like we did hash that out and we both agree. So we wanted to cancel the child support process, but that was not as easy as clicking a button,
Yeah.
which it should have been, but like there's just steps that you have to go through. And I had
Yeah.
to talk to
You
health.
just wish they were like, have you checked out our canceling appointment app?
Well,
Like our
they,
entire app about it?
they have a button that you can do it, but I had to call HCC, which is Health and Human Services.
Hmm.
I think that's what it is. And I was on hold with them for 4 hours. And I texted you about that. And then the next time I was on hold with them, I was on hold for like 2 hours. And then the time after that, like where this was going to be like the last time, I was on hold for an hour. And then I heard someone pick up and I said, hello. And I didn't hear anything back. And I was like, hello. And then the call just hung up. And there was no like callback number or anything. And whenever you call, it's like, your wait time will be over 1 hour or like 2 hours.
17 days.
Yes. And there's not an option to where they can call you back.
Hmm.
So I got that situated. We had our hearing. We explained our case. I finally got a hold of the attorney general, and then they said go through with the hearing. This is all jumbled out of order because that's the way my brain works. But they were like, go through with the hearing. Either they'll hear your case and they'll understand, or you're gonna have to come up with a bargain at that moment, and then that's gonna be put in place, and then you're gonna have to cancel later. But luckily, they were actually like really understanding. And the lady that helped us, like she was awesome. We had a little joke that came out of that. Um, they had to get Brian's like driver's license information, and his last name had changed from whenever he was a child, so they had his old last name.
Mm.
And they were asking him like name, address, eye color, and then she goes, "Weight," and he goes, "She goes, the weight that's on your driver's license," and he goes, "I don't think that's on your driver's license," and she goes, "Okay, well, I need your weight," and I just thought it was funny, like if you're like embarrassed about that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Well, or like you think, like, would they ever ask a woman? Of course they would. It's the government. But you think like it's funny because you're like, if someone was just like, okay, yeah, well,
But
your
like,
weight.
I'll call him, and whenever I answer the phone, I'm like, "Hello, this is Momo," and I'll be like, "I'll need you to answer to
And
verify a few questions
what's your
before we
weight?
get started." I was like, "Can you give me three of Niall's nicknames?" And then he'll name them, and I'll be like, "And lastly, I will need your weight, you fat bitch." Which there's nothing wrong with being fat, but like,
No.
but yeah, that's it.
Did you know that toddlers need an average of like, is it 14,000 or 1,400 steps a day?
No, I believe it, dude.
I believe it's 14,000. It feels like 14,000.
Honestly, I was watching Niall just run in a circle today, and I was
Yeah,
thinking if I had that much energy, I would have a anxiety attack. Like I would straight up have a panic
I do.
attack
Yeah.
if I felt
Um,
that way.
the past 2 weeks, it's been really rainy and snow or whatever. We're in Texas. So there was a freeze everyone was stuck in their houses for a little bit. And now it's raining, so anyone who has small children doesn't really want to leave the house. So thank God for these places that are like the play things where our kids can go be crazy people for a little bit without being told no. But those that 2 week um staying at home thing literally gave me anxiety to go out in the world again. I almost felt like, like newly postpartum, like
Mm-hmm.
again, like it's so scary to walk out of your house with your kid, no matter what age they are. Um, when it's raining, though, your ass is out while you're trying to put them in the car seat. So
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. And then they don't want to go in the car seat. So that's even cooler. But I was scared to get out of the house. And that was a fear, just one fear. And then he's developed so much in 2 weeks that I'm scared if I just like take him somewhere to run around. He's not exactly like I can play on my own in these type of situations yet, because these kids that are there, they're older and they're wanting to go as fast as possible up there, as they should, because this is their
Mm-hmm.
safe no place too,
Yeah.
um so I have to be up in that thing with them, being like, "Oh, excuse me, kids," while my 1-year old has to be on the third story of this jungle gym right now with his play mustard. This week
Mm-hmm.
it was mustard. Lennon always walks into anywhere that's a play thing, or really anything in a house. And whatever item he's allowed to walk around with the entire time, he commits to that item. Today it was a potato at the house, and I had to hide it behind a picture frame. It's somewhere in his room right now behind a picture frame, because it's a ball. Lennon's favorite word is, or phrase is, a ball. And he would not stop just destroying potatoes.
My man. I don't think like I think you can get sick if you just eat them raw.
I know bodybuilders who
Eat raw potatoes.
would just eat that thing.
Damn, dude.
In the crunchy community, potatoes, if you don't skin them, like apparently the most toxins in the world are actually all in your potato skins. Like, it's horrible. And I made, um, man, you're talking about how you feel like your year just started.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my year just started also in this moment right now, because I'm just now like, everyone's got resolutions, stuff like that. Mine, other than my piss poor performance of telling you on episode 8, like that I was going to lower my expectations for people as my New Year's resolution. Um, I want to familiarize myself better with my local HEB. I want to not be so scared and overstimulated when I go in there. I want to have a game plan. I want to come home and cook for my family. I have really bad anxiety, and I was raised in a house where I didn't have to cook. My dad was the cook, and I also wasn't like pushed to learn anything. Like, I don't know anything my dad makes, but I need to figure it out because they're staples in my life. But Tommy's the cook here. He's graciously done that for some time. Um, so I'm as embarrassed as I might be to like tell y'all I'm just now making like things like spaghetti. I have a huge fear of handling raw meat.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I've ever made has not involved the preparation of raw meat. I even went through like, oh, well, I'm a vegetarian or something, like phase, because I was like, I fear meat. And I think I just feared the preparation of meat. It's intimidating because people do get sick.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy's always very serious about that. Um, but I do give him props that he knows that I don't know how to do most, average things in the kitchen, like an electric can opener. He had to help me yesterday, but I made dinner for my family yesterday.
Hell
as
yeah.
as this comes full circle, I made chicken and green beans and potatoes. And I didn't skin them, and that's why I'm bringing this up at all, because my son was carrying around a potato. Skins are bad, says crunchy community. If you eat them, whatever.
Why do they think they're bad?
I think, isn't it a root vegetable?
It is a root vegetable. right? It comes out of the ground.
Yeah. So metals.
Okay.
I want to say it has something to do with metals and peeling that off, and some they suggest doing that.
So same thing with carrots.
Yeah, yeah. Shaving your carrots is big. Just getting rid of that first layer, and I guess that's what you do with fruit whenever you come home from the.
Oh yeah, you do wash it. Yes, you soak it in vinegar,
Yeah.
or you can use your Dr. Bronner's if you want to do that. It says on the bottle you can use it.
Yes, it does. I'm using it as body soap,
Mm-hmm.
but every time I'm in the bathtub, it's got so many words on it. I don't know if y'all know what it's called, Dr. Bronner's.
Mm-hmm.
It's just castile soap. You can use that on everything. It's a concentrate.
Yeah, I use it in my hair. We've talked about it so much.
Yeah,
But I use it for everything.
but I finally got my like first bottle. $15,
Yeah.
but then once you realize it's concentrate, you're like, oh.
I suggest if you find a scent that you like. I feel like my mic is off a little bit, right? Hi. If you find a scent that you like, if you order it on Amazon, then you can get it like two for the price of one. Thank you, Mom. Wow, a rare sighting of Sid's back of her head. Hello.
Yeah, if you're talking through the side of it, it's not
Hello.
gonna.
Hello. Hello. I think that's scoot this way. I feel like it sounds a lot
Do
better.
it to where you're talking into it.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Everything's freaking crazy now.
Um,
Not really.
but yeah, you can actually order it off bulk on Amazon, and
I
it's
got it
a little bit cheaper.
at HEB, but now that I know, I don't know if I like the scent.
Which one did you get? Peppermint.
Mm-mm. Breastfeeding people should stay away from peppermint.
Okay. What'd you get?
Almond. I
Almond.
think it's green, hemp and almond. I saw green and I was
Mhm.
like, this is probably my jam. I don't know.
The rose one is my favorite.
Ice.
Yeah, I like to eat the fruits of or the skin of kiwis a lot. Those have a bunch, yeah, like with bananas, because you can eat them, they're edible. Like, I know you think that you shouldn't, but like,
Whenever I was a kid, I ate something that was like a kiwi, and it burned my tongue for a very long time.
okay, so maybe like a minor little reaction.
Yeah, I think I had something, but I was eating it as a cafeteria lunch. It was given to me, so I don't know how that was prepared or anything. But I remember like looking around and being like, "Is anyone else's tongue burning?" And everyone was like, "No."
Mangoes you can also eat the skin of as well.
I don't really like mango.
Oh, okay.
Um, Only because I think it's one of those things where I'm just not familiar with it. I don't know what season it is. Don't know how to cut it, where to get it. But you said I can eat the skin, so I don't need to worry about cutting it.
They have mango cutters where it's just like an apple cutter
Um,
because the seeds are like oblong shaped like that. I feel like I can hear myself too well, and now I'm gonna move back just a little bit, just because I'm hyper aware. And but yeah, you can just like go down and slice it. Mangoes are kind of hard to cut.
yeah, cutting. Well, we were talking about how I also, I don't know, I don't know how to cut anything. So like cutting potatoes. I
Mhm.
made last week I made potato soup, and I forgot to do the skins on that too until I got to my third potato. But wasn't bad. It was good. Needed a lot more salt. Um, but I don't know how to cut things. So like zucchinis, stuff
Mhm.
like that. I feel like there's going to be a lot of things that me and Lennon in the kitchen are going to learn together. Like I said, Tommy's always really good at when he's making something and I'm like busy with Lennon. He's like, so I'm going to do this now. And I don't know if he does it because he's just naturally a teacher or what, but even if I'm not listening, he'll still say the same thing over and over again every time he makes something. Just see if something sticks.
Mhm.
Um, and I commend him for that because it's sticking slowly, but I feel like I'm coming into a new stage of motherhood where I can actually compartmentalize food and grocery shopping and all of that. And no, I would not survive in a desert alone. And I'm not going to pretend that I could. Just hoping that never happens to me.
Hmm. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're trying something new and it helps build confidence. And
So that's a better, that is my actual resolution that's occurring.
I think whenever like it comes to cooking, there are so many different factors. It's like the temperature that you cook at, the quality of ingredients that you use, and then of course there's different methods of like preparing things.
Yeah. It's
But
easy to feel like you're doing something wrong very quick,
mhm.
is what I feel like.
Yeah, but a lot of times like it's kind of like life. Like if
Hmm.
something goes wrong, you can just fix it.
And baking's a whole nother thing.
Hmm.
Like that's science.
Yeah, I've made a lot of candy, and there's candy chemistry with like you have that temperature
Hmm.
has to be perfect and
Yeah. Or
everything.
melting chocolate that can go wrong.
Yeah, because it has to be, I forgot the word, but if you don't want it to melt in your hands, a lot of chocolate does have like a wax on it, unless you're making it specifically from cocoa pods or cacao. Um, God, I fucking felt so pretentious. um,
The 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 eye squint
yeah,
did it for me.
toxic. But yeah, so whenever it comes to chocolate, you have to like heat it to a certain point and then let it cool down and then heat it again. I don't remember the temperatures off the top of my head. I have to look up things every time
I
I
don't
cook.
know any of that, and Tommy will just spit it out like he runs a restaurant
Um,
for like
but
chicken and beef. Like he knows what temperature. Like he's like, check that.
I just like for my chicken, I just keep it covered and like
For my
moist.
chicken, I just overcook it.
And I get so mad. I feel like I'm really good at making chicken, and because I make it every week, I just prepare a lot of chicken and then I'll use it in salads
See, that's what
or.
I'm trying to do is like things I can prep. And in order to do that, I need to figure out what I can do
Hmm.
and like what ends up in my fridge
Hmm.
during that time. Because obviously eggs. Um, but the boys are so weird about eggs.
Hmm.
I feel like every kid's weird about eggs. Everyone is actually weird about
I
eggs.
actually am really weird about eggs as well.
Yeah. Um, I reposted a meme that was like when you realize when you're eating eggs and you realize it tastes like you're eating eggs, and you're just
Hmm.
like,
I've
they're
described
so
it
good for you
as
though.
sometimes like when I'm eating them, I just smell death, and then
Yeah, I
like I'm very put off
feel like
by it.
it's my numerous attempts throughout the day I do to get iron
Hmm.
in his body because but he loves like sweet potatoes and I think there's stuff in that too. And chicken, but under the age of 3, apparently they need iron more than any other time of their life. So I try to do that. And I don't know how much gets processed through breast milk at that point. And I know breastfeeding at any age is beneficial, it has its benefits. But I don't know if it's iron. I don't. What about moms who are like already deficient in that?
So, if it's really hard for you to like incorporate iron because you don't know what he's going to eat, they have these little, like, I think they're like iron ducks or something, but you put them in your food and it actually infuses your food with iron. Um,
I want to beef liver.
Supplement? Beef liver. Oh, yeah. I saw you had
Yeah.
a new thing on the counter.
Yes. Um, I'm trying we're doing the Liver Kings beef liver instead of there's perfect supplements which we've always done. And they sell the powder. Like
Hmm.
moms make hot chocolate and they'll just like throw some of that in there. And that'd be cool if I was I need to figure out a recipe. He won't even take like milk. So
He's had the good stuff. He's like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough wean for sure. Um,
I eat 4 eggs every morning.
I tried, um, but it is like force feeding yourself after some time. But that's really good that you
I
do that.
I put a bunch of spinach, like raw spinach. I don't like to cook it, and spinach also has a bunch of iron in it as well. But I'll do raw spinach only because if you cook it, it can cook out some of the nutrients. I'll do red onion, bell pepper, and then I put Parmesan cheese and salsa, and that's like it's 24 grams of protein, which I try to keep track of. Um, But yeah, I do that every single morning.
My mom just signed Lennon up for the, I don't know what's it called, mom. It's like Nurture Life or something like that. Those like meal plan
Oh, that's
things or whatever.
cute. Yeah.
Yeah, she just got a bunch of stuff like salmon bites, toddlers, shepherd's pie. It's cute, cute, cute. Um, but pretty good ingredients.
I'm very proud of you. And I think as someone who is so aware of like the things going in your body, that like that will definitely help take some anxiety off you.
Yes. When I told her, I said, cool, thanks. And then I was like, I need in person, and she's gonna hear it right now. But I'm gonna let her know like that is a huge like lift off my shoulders with anxiety, and they watch him like at least two to three times a week, so it's it'll be easier to be like, here you go, and then I don't have to like be like, what are we having for dinner, or like
Mm-hmm.
what these are the snacks we're gonna have to do while I'm at work trying to focus on that. Because I'll literally text them and be like, how was dinner? What do we have? You know, because I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And, but they've done all the good things so far. They listen to my brands and they'll go find what they can.
One in a meal.
Thank
They're great.
y'all. Yeah. They keep us going for sure. But I'm excited to try that. Um, I don't know when it'll come in, but super excited. There's also a Thrive Market. Have you heard of that?
It sounds familiar, but I'm not
It's like
sure.
grocery shopping online type of thing. It has a bunch of like really good vetted brands, but it's a subscription. So people are like, is it worth it? There's that whole thing.
Have you looked into Jovi's at all?
I've been there.
Or is it Jovi's? Is that the one that I'm talking? Is it? That's the one where you get the cart back. You like pay a quarter for it.
I it was like HE. It's a HEB cousin is what
Mm.
Jovi is. Are you talking about Trader Joe's?
No, I'm gonna look it up really quick.
Okay,
But
different Joe.
yeah, we can. There's pretty much this. Why can I not remember? I think it might be.
I mean, it's relatable. A lot of moms like we all spend so much time thinking about what we're gonna feed our kids. And when I feel like we don't talk about that anxiety a lot, but also if you were like an older sibling, you probably cooked for younger people and you had this experience. My siblings are 12 and 15 years younger than me. This is the product of the younger child, I guess. Everyone cooked for me. So I'm working backwards now, doing silly things. What's it called?
It's in Aldi.
Oh, Aldi.
Yes. So Aldi,
Yeah.
the way that they're set up, like they'll have a bunch of foods that are very like they're off-brand Aldi versions of like foods that are in big box
And they're
stores.
pretty good.
And because they do it, they cut out so many ingredients that
Yeah.
aren't needed and preservatives. But I don't know if you've been in there. You might
No,
like
I've
that as
not
well.
been in there and I want to. My mom goes there, so she's in the know of that. But there's accounts I follow and they're like, I get this from Aldi, I get this from Costco. I want to go into a Costco. I just want to go in. I think I've been once or twice. It's not the same as Sam's, right? Or is it Sam's now?
It's a different company.
Just another bulk place.
Mm-hmm.
Seems so cool. It's like Disney World for groceries.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time.
But yeah, I'm super proud of you.
Thanks.
Yeah, what's the
Thanks.
next thing you're
It's been
gonna
a
cook?
lot. Um, that's just the start of, I guess, the start of my year. Um, I'm also working, doing a lot of things like that. Um, just trying to like balance. It's funny saying like work life balance. Yes, I'm a working mom, but I feel like I'm more consumed by life than work. Work is like there's I'm in this period of my life where like work is your escape, or
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're just it's mindless, it's
Mm-hmm.
quick, it's easy, get it done. You're dealing with adults, people you can at least talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And the real work is at home though, and I feel empowered by the work at home too. But um
Do
yeah,
you
so
think
there's another aspect.
has breastfeeding gotten a little bit easier, like pumping and all that, now that?
So I'm not even pumping at work really anymore. So that says something, and it's not affecting my body.
Okay, good.
So I feel like I've regulated. I won't know, like I'm not feeling any mastitis or anything. Um, so I'm going like 6 hours, no pump. Coming home, obviously immediately put them on the boob. But it's not like this like rush to boob anymore. It is like a like, oh, mom's home, check in with her, and then just goes back to playing or whatever. It used to be this big like, I have to go all the way to bed. I've missed you,
Hmm.
and then nurse to sleep. Like he's been shocked all day. You know what I mean? Now it's just like an accent to our welcome back or good night. It's
Hmm.
not like necessary, but he's waking up a bunch at night, of course, but it's also been raining. And a realization I have had that I don't necessarily, I'm not ready for, but it's a realization I've had. Um, he sleeps better whenever we're not in the bed with him. And I know everyone's like, well, duh. But getting to experience that now, you're realizing, oh, you're at a certain point where Tommy and I both extended co-slept with our parents forever. Um, if I feel like it's affecting his sleep, like he's getting enough sleep because he's still sleeping 12 hours and napping just fine, has a normal schedule. So those wake ups aren't really affecting, I don't think, development or growth. My pediatrician would say otherwise, but those 30 seconds that he wakes up and gets back on the boob, I don't think that it's hurting him that much. We all wake up, look at the fan, and then go back to sleep, right? We all do that.
When you say you think it's harder on you, it's like an emotional thing of like coming to terms with the fact that he's not as
So a
small
lot
baby.
a lot of people when they wean, they have to their because their bodies aren't going to wean unless we tell our bodies to stop,
Mhm.
unless we like stop that supply and demand, right? So emotionally, I think it's emotional, but it's also like physical for me. And I'm gonna be like, oh man, we've gone 3 hours now. My body starts feeling it. If you've breastfed, you feel that tingle or that like, where's my baby? Your body aches for them. Um, so it's that regulation process. Obviously, I've had to go through a lot of those tingle moments and ignore them because he's not ready for it, the boob, or he doesn't want the boob. Um, but a lot of moms stop breastfeeding or co-sleeping because they feel like they are stunting development. Like I needed it more than he did at that point. I see it all the time. And I guess I think that that's where we will get, not with boob, but with sleep probably.
Do you have a plan in place of like how you want to like move on from that chapter?
Once my body gets a little bit more, because I realize like it isn't entirely my choice either. Like
Mm-hmm.
my body, if my body's producing too much, then I need to figure out how to. I was trying to explain this to management, but they're like, oh, okay. Um, how do I regulate my body for some days, but not other days? Like if I'm home with him all day and my body knows, or like my body tells my boobs what to do, right? Like it's a magical thing. Um, but I'm a person with a brain and I'm trying to think of how that's working within myself. So I don't know. I guess it's just trying to figure out what's best for him. It's not always going to be it to me. It's always what's best for me. Whatever he needs is going to be best for everybody. Um, but there's still emotions involved because I am a mature adult with feelings, and I express it different than he does. And the hormones are going to be different. So when that prolaxin stops, um, that's anxiety starts, depression starts. It's going to be a whole different part of postpartum that I need to be ready for. Um, because right now I'm still on like a more of a estrogen high than the average postpartum person who's not breastfeeding at this stage. So weaning will always be a little bit more emotional for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, whenever you said how do I get my body to regulate more for some days, like I put some thought into that and like that's something I never had to deal with just because while I was breastfeeding, I chose not to work.
Yeah. That's what took me so long to come back. Really, what Lennon was 15 months when I started again.
I feel like that could also add a new layer of anxiety because at first I was like, well, why don't you just start breastfeeding less and then your body will start making less milk? But then that also comes with like this feeling of like, well, what if my milk dries up? And you
Then you're
put,
panicking
yeah, and then you plan on breastfeeding.
before he's ready to stop, because
Mhm.
I'm not stopping really until he's ready to stop, because I'm not going to cause trauma that I don't have to cause. I know he's, no matter what, like no matter what age he stops at, um it's going to be heartbreak, but breastfeeding's not his whole life, and I know that, but he doesn't know that right now, and he has to decide whenever that's done, because I don't have the heart to tell him, am I ready to have my body back? Some days. Some days it's really hard. I talk about this a lot. Having a partner in the show business and not being able to support them in the capacity that you once did. Odell's daughter is about to have a baby, and her um, significant other, partner, baby daddy, is a DJ. So he is also doing the same things as Tommy. And she literally posted today, like a video down at her belly and then at him DJing, and was like, I won't get to do this much longer. And I'm like, 1,000%. And I'm here for you for all of those moments where you feel like you're inevitably, because you can't go out, right? But you're doing the most important and empowering work at home. Like, you need to be at home with your baby or whatever, you know. But there's this whole part of like the mom's life changes, the dad.
And there's just mom guilt. Like even
Yes.
if
So
you
even
did,
if I did go, and Tommy even reminds me of that. He says, even when we are out, you're not able to completely give yourself to it. So I feel like until I wean him and he's able to stay at grandma and grandpa's for a night or something, it's not going to happen. And it's just not my time, but it doesn't make this time any easier. And the minutes go by a lot slower when your partner isn't there, I feel like. And I work too, and then days where he doesn't have gigs, Tommy has Lennon, and vice versa. It's where we really do like rely on each other so much for that, like I'm going to lose my mind type of thing. I just need another adult here to like talk to sometimes. Even if you're not like breastfeeding, I just need literally the mental support behind
mhm.
it. Is it so hard? Do I want my body back? All those things, like, sure. But also Tommy's been kind of great in supporting the fact that it's not my time right now, and understanding like, yeah, that is really hard, you know we both don't have conventional jobs. And am I glad for that Monday through Wednesday when we are all together? Absolutely. um but being weekend warriors is hard on breastfeeding and parenting. I think breastfeeding is really the one that, like, because it's still at the forefront, like we have to like make that a focus, because Lennon has it still as a focus, right? So I still have to, like, no matter how I feel about it, like it is what it is. I'm still picking out my outfits based off of if I'm gonna have to whip my boob
Yeah.
out, you know what I mean? I'm still there, nurse and bra, all that. I make jokes about that at work. But we're doing it for Lennon, right? Trucking. Plan in place? No, don't have plan in place, because I do want it to be a natural or a gentle wean.
Oh, I meant about like the co-sleeping thing. Like, do you?
We might just do like a twin mattress on the floor.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Is it going to be in the same room? Or are you going to put
Yeah,
because he has his own room?
he has his own room, but I think having it as a playroom, since I want to homeschool and stuff, instills that this room is for learning.
Mm-hmm.
And babies, children, um, I think the study I read was up till 7 years old benefit from sleeping in the same room as their parents, because that's supposed to be a gentle wean also. Um, some people don't have a choice,
Yeah.
but 7 years old, because when they wake up in the middle of the night and you're not there, it affects them completely different than an adult, obviously, because there's feelings of if they're not self-soothing, like imagine the trauma you're putting right there
Yo,
at that
Niall.
point.
Niall is the most self-soothing child in the entire world. Like if he wakes up and because he'll go to bed and okay, let me just preface this by saying getting sick, it being cold, not being able to go to play space, his sleep schedule is completely out of whack.
Yeah.
He used to nap around 12, wake up around 2, he'd be up till 8. Sometimes he would like stay up till 9, but that was his consistent schedule. Now we are last night he stayed up till midnight, which is
We were 11.
mm-hmm. And he still wakes up at 8:30. So and now he's having like longer naps midday. So we're working on getting him back on that schedule. But we always kept him in the same room with us. At nap time, we didn't go to sleep with him. So we would put him down and then give him his quiet space and we would put some white noise on for him. And if he's not ready to go to sleep, if he's like absolutely not ready, he'll let us know.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay,
You
well,
kind of have no choice.
yeah.
Especially when they're a toddler, Lenny knows how to open the door. He'll just walk out.
But if he's not ready to go to sleep, he'll literally just stay in bed and he'll practice talking. He'll just play with his toes and he'll just like say his favorite phrases. He'll just count until he falls asleep. But what I do, because we're in a 1 bedroom, so me and him share our bedroom, and then the outside of the apartment is, or outside of the bedroom is like his play space. That's where the TV is, the kitchen, and everything. I will put him down in his little bassinet and he'll fall asleep in there. And then whenever I go to bed, I'll pick him up because his body's just like limp and I'll move him in bed with me. So he can sleep on his own, but I just like to sleep with him. I like whenever.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with also like us as parents admitting that we need them too.
But I do have to say,
especially mothers.
I do know that if I sleep with him, he's not going to sleep as well.
Yeah.
I can lay down and go to sleep with him, but he is going to be so excited that I'm there with him.
We're in the era of dad sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. He'll just like
to like give him space.
He'll just kick me. Like he'll just like put his feet on me and then he'll just climb on me and he'll just give me kisses. And it'll just take him like hours to go to sleep if I go to sleep with them. So I try not to do that. But also if I sleep with him, like I think he moves around and if he feels me, he just wakes up.
Yeah.
And then
that's what, and Lennon's like immediately boob because he's touched me physically at that point. So I'll literally sleep like a hot dog.
But sometimes I don't take him out of the bassinet and I just let him sleep in there. And I've noticed whenever I do that, he just sleeps for longer and he's just more chill. But he's awesome at self-soothing. He's really good at like falling down and gauging if he's hurt and then getting up. He's a great little kid. I told you we've been having temper tantrums lately and that's sucked.
We will close on temper tantrum update and what the hell are we doing to fix it?
Okay. I feel like I've been talking so much this episode.
I feel like I've been talking so much this episode. Everyone just actually hates us. They're actually not even here at this point at 58 minutes.
How's Lennon been doing on temper tantrums? I've never seen one. And I know you say this, but like, I swear to God, he's the happiest baby. So when you're like, Lennon was like going crazy, I'm like, this guy, like, no.
A ball over here?
You're going to like lie on his name like that?
So his first single he wrote was a ball outside. It was a sad short story about a ball he needed to get to outside. And that would be what he would say, a ball outside. He would point to the door like he needs to go get to that ball. It needs him. This week it's outside a ball. So it's gotten more optimistic. Outside a ball. It's more of a realization. And it's something he's going to be working on for some time. You said it'll be his Bohemian Rhapsody. We're just at the point where he can get into absolutely everything in the house. So you feel like you're saying no a lot and he's starting to react more to the no's a lot. But he can't use my crimper as an electric guitar. Like you just can't. And there's a difference between making a request with a child and setting a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Like a request is be like, oh, well, don't do that. Pretty passive, right? Where a boundary is, I cannot let you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can understand and explain it. My 1 year old is already on to the next thing. So it's just, I simply cannot let you do that today. I'm sorry. And I just try to redirect. I do a bunch of redirection. Tommy does enough or what the dad voice
Yeah.
to get, because normally once we're at the word enough, that means other things have happened before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's just becoming such a daredevil. His toy box is for performing concerts now only. And he stage dives into his stuffed animal corner. It's pretty funny. Yeah, he's pretty cool. But he's getting more vocal with his emotions for sure. And I am trying to ask him like, hey, what are you feeling? Stuff like that. Um, and obviously boob. Uh, we do a lot, but it's supposed to help like just hormone wise with tantrums. So I'll let you know how that goes. He's my little science experiment.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Niall too.
Just we'll figure it out, I guess. Niall did good. We had a play date today. I feel like Niall did good today. He did join another family, so I don't know
Yeah, he did do that.
where he is right now, but
He decided that he found this lady and her son, and I talked to her a little bit, and she has sisters and they have kids, and they're all like 9, so her kid doesn't have anyone to play with, so that's
Mhm.
why she ventures here. So she was like more than welcoming to let Niall sit with them, but he wanted some water, and I went to go buy him one from the concession. And then I just realized he was gone. I was like, all right, let me go find my dude. And then he's sitting at a booth with this family. And I said, I am so sorry. And then I was like, Niall, you cannot sit with random people. And then she goes, he's really convincing. I almost gave him a slice of pizza. And I just laughed. And then I was like, okay, well, let's go over here. Like, let's go play. And I apologize. And then we walk off. And then he goes back and he just climbs in the booth and he just sits and like stares and just starts talking to them. And I said,
and we brought this man snacks.
oh yeah, he had food.
He was fine.
But at another table. So like it just
Mhm.
wasn't at this table with this family.
Yes. Sorry, our snacks were we were not having snacks with this family.
Um
Niall was.
but he sits back down and I said, I am so sorry. Like I and she goes, it's okay. And she's like, he can have some pizza if he wants. Like, we're not. Oh, and also, I want to preface this by saying we went at like 11:30 and we had just had breakfast.
Yeah, we did.
So
Yeah.
there's like, if he's hungry, of course, like he had his little snacks. Then you brought him like little banana pancakes, but he had just eaten. So I did not want to buy him a full slice of pizza.
Yeah.
But she was like, he can have some. And I was like, oh, I don't want him to like think that it's okay to beg people for food. But she's like, no, it's okay. And
He probably didn't think that's what he was doing.
yeah, but she just gave him some pizza, and then like he didn't want to leave. He just wanted to sit there and talk with them. Like such a social guy. I took a picture, and then Brian was like, oh, he's a finesser for sure. But
I love that I forgot this. I saw some regulars
yeah,
there, and it's a couple with a little boy. He's about Niall's age, I think. They come into the restaurant all the time. Um, and I saw them out in public and I was like, oh my gosh, hi, this is my son. I always reference Lennon whenever I see their little boy because it's about the same age.
yeah.
And they, same sippy cup, all the things. And I'm always like, girl, going through it too with you. What can I get you to drink? And super cool family. And the world is so small.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say that. But it's one of my best like regulars and most genuine people ever. They're very humble. Their son has Down syndrome, so they've shared a little bit of that with me, and I just think that's so cool that
Mm-hmm.
I got to see them in public being people, and got to Lennon got to hang out with their kiddo as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, full circle moment right there. Any closing statements?
Um, yeah. I'm just gonna close off on what we've been doing for tantrums. So he's been
Sorry.
throwing. Oh no, you're fine. You're perfect.
I'm perfect.
You are perfect. I feel like it's a very natural flow of like
It's of
conversation
perfect or perfection.
of perfection,
Very
and it is.
naturally flowing.
Um, but yeah, so he's been having some really big feelings. He has been, and I do have to say, they are reserved for me. So
Mm-hmm.
like he doesn't have these tantrums with anyone else. I'm assuming it's because I'm his safe place, and like he feels the most comfortable with me. But he's been like biting and like just, I would never tell this to him, but he's kind of been being an asshole. But only like 20% of the time.
But it's yeah. It's been pretty physical.
Yeah, he's also just like the sweetest, kindest, like most understanding.
Nobody likes diaper changes,
No, God, no. Yeah,
especially at this age.
I've had a bloody nose from being kicked in the face 3 times in 3 days. But what we've been doing is, if he will let me pick, I'll let him feel his feelings. We got a feelings book, so we have a feelings chart where we can like talk about how we're feeling. But the most important thing that I think to do is I'll pick him up and I'll rub his back and I'll just hold him and I let him know how much I love when he's happy, but I love him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That even whenever he's feeling grumpy and he doesn't like, he's just screaming and crying, that I always love him and there will not be a moment that I do not love him. So we usually just do that and I'll take like some deep breaths and then he'll calm down. But I think naming our feelings has been the biggest thing. Also just trying not to get my ass beat.
Literally,
Yeah.
we're just trying to not get our ass beat.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Outside a ball.
outside a ball outside.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for listening to us absolutely just jab away at whatever the hell we just talked about. And we will see you next week
For episode 10.
10.